faces, worst generation, cooking up a feast while he's turning through the pages. Theories that he's making, from showing it insane and blocked in, analyzing, using observation. Yeah, observation, rambling addiction.
Hello there, I'm StrawHatLucas, and welcome back to another episode of Rambling Addiction. This week's episode is a little different from my usual fanfare, as I'm going to be delving into the realm of comic book films, as I pitch to you what I think would be a fantastic trilogy of Bat family films.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Before I dive into this pitch, I do want to say the reason I'm doing this is because I've been doing a lot of reviews and first thoughts videos lately, and I wanted to do something fun and something different. And I was watching Matt Reeves' Batman movie the other night, right? And I enjoyed this. I enjoy it a lot. I love Paul Dano in general. Like, he's probably one of my favorite modern actors. I think he does a fantastic job with every performance he does. And even though I'm not the biggest fan of him, I thought Robert Pattinson killed it as the Batman and as Bruce Wayne.
I'm vengeance.
Another big plus I would love to give to Matt Reeves on his Batman is the detective side of things. A lot of times nowadays, especially since Christopher Nolan's trilogy came out, they tend to forget that Batman was a detective and just go towards the, I'm brooding, I'm dark, I'm gonna corner a bad guy in a corner and ask him why he hurt my mommy. God, I just thought about the Martha scene.
Why did you say that name?
And while Matt Reeves did keep that gritty aesthetic for Gotham, he captured that spirit of the original DC comics of Batman being more of a detective crime fighter than just crime fighter vigilante. But one thing I've noticed that's been missing from a lot of modern Batman movies is Robin.
Holy rusted metal, Batman! Huh?
And no, I do not count Joseph Gordon-Levitt in The Dark Knight Rises as Robin. Like, yes, I know there's the whole thing at the end of it, like, yeah, they call me by my middle name, Robin, or whatever the hell it is. I don't know, I'll probably play the clip.
There's nothing here!
But since literally Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, we've not seen Robin in a live action medium besides the Titan show that came out on HBO Max forever ago, which isn't that bad. From what I've seen of it, I've only seen the first season, but I have some friends that have watched it all and said that it's actually pretty good. But nonetheless, that's just Robin. That's not Batman and Robin. So let's dive into the first film in this hypothetical trilogy that I'm going to be presenting to you today. We open up on a traveling caravan of circus performers. This is where we are introduced to a 15-year-old Dick Grayson. He is traveling with his parents to perform in Gotham City, where Batman has been operating as a vigilante for a couple years now. Dick is very excited because he thinks he may get a chance to see the Bat. So Dick Grayson's on his way to Gotham, and this is where we will cut to our first villain. Here you would enter one of the heads of either the Falcone or Maroni crime families. Doesn't really matter which one, because this is all hypothetical, right? But the person that they are talking to is who is important. That is our first villain, Mr. Victor Zsasz. I'd like to think that the head of this crime family, whoever it is that is hiring Victor, warned the leaders of the circus that if they put up their circus and do it at this time, at that spot, there was going to be problems. Maybe it's interfering with some kind of smuggling operation or something of that effect. It doesn't matter because it is only a loose plot thread to get Victor to that circus. Also part of this circus would be Garfield Lynns, who is an inside man for this crime family, who has been paid to tell them exactly what acts are going on when and everything else. He is an inside plant into the circus. For those of you who are not familiar with Garfield Lynns by that name, this is our second villain of the film, Firefly.
I'm Firefly. Get it? Fire and fly.
Now I hear you guys saying, Lucas, you haven't even spoke about Bruce Wayne or Batman yet, and there's a reason for that. So we get the setup, right? And we get to the circus. The night the Flying Graysons take the stage. Probably the first night of the circus. Bruce Wayne is in the audience and he's watching the circus to make a public appearance, of course, because Wayne Enterprise loves to save face amongst the public, considering they live in the shithole that is Gotham. And it is here where Victor Zsasz attacks, and according to the plan, is supposed to take out the Flying Graysons, and then Mr. Lynns will set the circus ablaze. I would like to think that this goes to plan, except for the exception that Dick Grayson of the Flying Graysons survives. and he sees vexyz with his own eyes. Mr. Lenz does his part of the plan, but unexpectedly gets burned in the process. This will come in handy later when he needs to create the Firefly suit that is completely flame resistant when he goes on his tirade of burning down Gotham. From here, you get the typical Robin setup. Bruce Wayne takes in Dick Grayson because he's an orphan. He finds out that Dick is going out trying to hunt down vexyz and take him out for unaliving his parents. During this time, you set up the subplot that Batman is now trying to stop the serial arsonist Firefly, who was driven mad when he looked into the flames when he burned earlier as Garfield Lenz. They stop Firefly together, then hunt down vexyz, and this is where you get that climactic moment of the movie that comes with every one of Robin's origin stories. And that is Batman teaching him the moral code of why they do not take the lives of those they face.
Robin! Enough.
Then the movie could end with vexyz in Arkham, seeing all of the scars on him from the people he took, and him obsessively thinking about the one who got away, Mr. Dick Grayson. Let's move on to the hypothetical sequel. A couple years have passed since Dick became Batman's apprentice, and we now see that he is operating as Nightwing.
Call me Nightwing.
Himself, Batman, and the new Robin, Mr. Jason Todd, are right now trying to take out the one, the only, Calendar Man.
30 days hath September, but today's the one that troubles you the most.
Within the first 15 minutes of this movie, I feel like Calendar Man would succumb to Nightwing, who is then tasked with figuring out what his goal was. Because maybe they stop Calendar Man, but they do not figure out what it is, this date that he keeps speaking of, that something is going to happen on this date. So it is up to Nightwing to figure out and interrogate Calendar Man until he can figure out what exactly is going to happen then. Then enter the Joker. Now listen, I wasn't going to fan cast anybody in this video at all, but please, if this were, 1 in a million chance that this trilogy actually happened ever, cast William Dafoe as the Joker just one time. I need to see him as the Joker just once in my life, please. So I think we can see where I'm going with this. I've introduced Jason Todd, I've introduced the Joker. This is basically a giant Chekhov's gun waiting to happen. The Calendar Man plotline would set up the intrigue of what is going to happen on that date, but Eagle Eye fans and fans of the comics would know what happens on that date is Jason Todd gets beat with a crowbar by the Joker. I think that would actually be the midway point of the movie. The Jason Todd and Batman have been chasing the Joker down. They cannot find them. Jason goes missing. Batman is panicking. He's calling Dick. He's calling Barbara as well, who has not been seen, but has been mentioned a couple times at this point. Dick is freaking out. He's screaming at Calendar Man. Tell me what's going to happen. Today's the day. What's going to happen? And that's when Calendar Man tells him, today's the day a Robin dies. Then we get the dramatic scene of Batman finding Jason Todd's beaten body. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. It's something that has been alluded to in live action before, but they've never had the guts to show. As we saw in the DCEU when Snyder was in control, Batman did have the costume of Jason Todd with the spray-painted ha-ha-has all over it. Just like with the death of Gwen Stacy in Amazing Spider-Man 2, I think if you pulled the scene off right, it could be one of the most impactful in all of comic book movie history. Then the final climactic moments would be Dick Grayson finding Batman beating the Joker to death.
What did he say?
And in an odd parallel to the first movie, it would be Nightwing reminding Batman of why they don't kill, even when they want to really bad. So you end the movie with Bruce saying he needs a bit of a break, and Nightwing and now revealed Barbara Gordon Batgirl taking over the main parts of crime fighting for the time off that Bruce needs while he deals with the death of one of his children.
This is my boy!
We then enter the third movie in this hypothetical trilogy, which, if you haven't guessed by the buildup I've been presenting so far, would basically be based off of Under the Red Hood, with some differences in it.
You want to see what I can get done in a whole evening?
I'd like to think that the movie would mainly focus on Dick, Barbara, and Bruce all trying to figure out who the Red Hood is as he's taking out quite a bit of the Rose Gallery. Maybe have him take out Calendar Man at the beginning for his involvement in the plan for the Joker to kidnap him and do what he did to him. Take out a couple other I want to say BC tier rogues.
Did I just hear the wind say kite man?
Like, we don't want him taking out the Riddler or something like that, right? That said, though, I would love to see a fight between Red Hood and, say, the Penguin. Maybe this is where Batman has his first interaction with him and gets a chance to kind of be face-to-face with Red Hood for the most part. And this may lead up to that big moment of Bruce going to Dick and Barbara and now the new Robin, Tim Drake, and being like, he was familiar. I don't know who he is, but he was familiar. And I think that that would be the basic plot of that third movie, is Red Hood going around, taking out different parts of the Rogues Gallery, trying to find the Joker. Here's the big twist, though. As soon as Bruce is caught on to Red Hood's plan to take out the Joker, he himself went out, captured the Joker, and has him imprisoned inside of the Batcave. Why the Batcave and not Arkham Asylum? Well, because Arkham is pretty easy to break in and out of, let's be real. How many times have Batman villains broken out of Arkham Asylum?
Too easy, dude. Give me that crown.
I think the hardest part to pull off of this third hypothetical movie would be the lack of a main antagonist from Batman's Rogue Gallery. A lot of Batman films use those villains to fill up spots where the movie would otherwise fall flat. This time instead you have the looming enigma of who the Red Hood is. Now, comic book fans would obviously know who it was immediately, but for general audience purposes they would not. So the reveal of Jason Todd being the Red Hood would be such a big shock to those general audience members. Not only that, but you could even set up ties between the Lazarus Pit and Talia al Ghul and set up a fourth movie, hypothetically, where Damian Wayne is brought into it, and maybe they bring out, like, you know, the new Robins and Red Robin and everything. As much as the Bat family as they can get in here, right? Big showdown, big emotional finish with Bruce talking to Jason and being like, you know, you don't think I wanted to? You don't think I wanted to take out the man who took out one of my children? Of course I did. And then you have the whole backlash of maybe Red Hood gets caught middle of the film, or 2/3 way of the film, and the whole climax is them trying to figure out what to do with Jason. Do they prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law for murdering Calendar Man, or do they teach him their ways again and not to take it to that level and bring him into the Bat family? Which, of course, the latter is the choice that you would want so that you can continue this new franchise of Bat family movies. In closing, I think that the way that they're doing the Batman right now does work. We do like these dark and grittier storylines for Batman, but what makes the DC animated universe and DC Comics universe Batman so different from the live action Batman is those moments of humor and the moments where you realize Batman's not just this lone wolf type who's out there trying to stalk whoever he can to stop crime or whatever, right? Batman is a family man. He's a family guy.
He said it. He said it.
And that's why I think Bat family should be the focus of this new era of Batman. Even in Matt Reeves' Batman, if in this second movie that they're doing right now, he brings in a Robin, I would lose my shit. Like, just have a Robin there. He doesn't have to be dark and brooding, and that can be the light in this dark and brooding world. The light that Bruce needs to see to get out of that funk he has. Because let's face it, a dark and brooding Batman is cool, yes, but a funny Batman, a charismatic Batman, one who can see the light as well as the dark, that's a good Batman. And as I said, I do like Matt Reeves' take on the Batman. I'm very excited to see where he goes with that, and I want to see what's going on with James Gunn's DCEU, because I was not the biggest fan of the Snyderverse. That said, it did have hits as well as the misses that it did have. So I'm ready to see the DC be on the same level in live action that Marvel was on. Even if Marvel hasn't done the best in recent years, I'm still a huge fan of them, as I am a fan of DC. Even if I haven't read the comics in the past few years, DC has been there for me as long as Marvel has. I can remember being a child and reading The Killing Joke when I had no business reading The Killing Joke, or reading The Death of Superman. And to see their blunders in live action, it's upsetting, right? It's upsetting to see that. And I think the most upsetting part is that they have these little moments in those live action DC movies that are amazing. Superman killing Zod in Man of Steel is one of the best scenes of that entire movie. The pain in Henry Cavill's face as he screams no after doing what he had to do is just impactful. It's a moment of Superman being Superman. And I think that that's something they need to realize when they're making these new live action DC movies, and Matt Reeves while he's making the Batman, is that these are silly comic book superhero guys. You don't need to make them dark and brooding and serious all the time. they have to have the light as well as the dark, as I said earlier. But yeah, I'm done rambling, guys. Like I said, this episode was meant to be for fun. I don't want to end it on a super duper serious note. I hope you guys had as much fun watching this as I did making it. If you have your own ideas for what a Batman/Bat Family movie could look like, please tell me in the comments below. But yes, I've been StrawHatLucas, Captain of the Last Ark. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell icon, do all of those YouTube things. But more importantly than anything, have a wonderful, wonderful night.